Hi class. This week we're looking at deviance and crime. One of the topics that I want to highlight as we look at deviance and crime is that of police brutality. The main question that I would like to ask us today is there an end in sight to police brutality? Good question, isn't it? Is there an end in sight? Now, as we reflect on police brutality, there are countless numbers of black males who have been murdered by the police. And this is of concern. Now, because the topic is so sensitive, what I'm going to do in this PowerPoint presentation is to present to you some audio and video recordings that relates and addresses the issue of police brutality. The first audio I want us to take a look at is that of President Obama as he addresses the issue of police brutality. He argues that it is not just a black issue. Rather, it is an issue that should affect each and every member of society. Let's listen to President Barack Obama.
When incidents like this occur, there's a big chunk of our fellow citizenry that feels as if, because of the color of their skin, they are not being treated the same. And that hurts. And that should trouble all of us. This is not just a black issue. It's not just a Hispanic issue. This is an American issue that we should all care about. All fair-minded people should be concerned.
And having said that, I want to bring your attention to just a few of the black men who have been killed by police in our recent past. The names include Philando Castile, Tamir Rice, Renisha McBride, Kevin Davis, John Crawford, Breonna Taylor, Eric Garner, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Oscar Grant, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, Walter Scott, Anthony Hill, to name a few. And of course, I cannot underscore the more recent George Floyd. Now, you may have heard of Ferguson, and during that time, my oldest daughter was in college at Mount Holyoke in Massachusetts. This was her second year in college, and she was pretty concerned about what was happening in Ferguson. At 18 years old, she realized that she could not stand still without getting involved or becoming an activist one way or the other. So now I want to invite you to listen to my oldest daughter, Carrie Hannah Morrison, who was 18 years old at the time and a second-year college student at Mount Holyoke College.
Hi. Thank you. My name is Carrie, I actually don't go here, I go to Mount Holyoke College. So before I say anything, I want to let let you go and know that we stand in solidarity with them. I really like what my sister said. I'm trying to forget your name. What's your name? Deja. Deja. Hi. Thank you. My name is Carrie. I actually don't go here. I go to Mount Holyoke College. So before I say anything, I want to let you go and know that we stand in solidarity with them. I really like what my sister said. I'm trying to forget your name. What's your name? Deja. Deja said about the importance of listening, because actions like these aren't really actions, they're conversations. And as she was speaking, I thought of the first murder story that I heard as a child in Sunday school. The story of Cain and Abel, the sons of Adam and Eve. And for those of you who aren't really familiar with it, Cain and Abel are asked to give sacrifice unto God. And Cain goes up and he gives his something sacrifice. And Abel goes up and he gives his something sacrifice. But there's something about Abel's sacrifice that God finds a little more pleasing. There's something that's different. And so he takes his sacrifice and rejects Cain's. Now Cain gets upset. And after the sacrifices are given and God says his peace, he goes out into the field, and the Bible says that he slays his brother down. And it makes me wonder what exactly it was about Abel's skin color, what it was about his hair, what it was about his culture, his music that made Cain want to kill his own brother. And so God, in his infinite wisdom, comes down and he sees Cain and he says, "What's up?" And he's like, "Nothing much, I'm chilling." But God is smarter than that. And he asks, "Cain, where is your brother?" And Cain responds famously, "Am I my brother's keeper?" Now, I have a 17-year-old brother who's going to college at RIT, and I have to ask myself, am I my brother's keeper? If something happens to my brother, a confrontation with the police, am I his keeper? I don't know, Cain. Are you going to attend his funeral? I don't know, will you be there at his vigil? Will the cameras be pointing at you? Will you be on the news when your brother dies? Are you his keeper? Look to the person next to you. Look to your fellow students. To that person who you need to be a friend with. Am I your keeper? Am I your keeper? And so God stops playing games at that point because Cain is getting a little fresh. He says, "Cain, I hear your brother's blood crying out to me from the ground." And God listened to that cry, and he had to respond. That's why I say actions like these that we're taking right now aren't actions, they're conversations. I can hear Mike Brown's blood. I can hear Trayvon Martin's blood. And those are names that we hear because they were recorded, because they were mailed, because they were trade, for various different reasons. You know, let me not talk about the transgender names. Let me not talk about the women. Let me not talk about the elderly people. Don't think that 90 is too old. Don't think that 10 is too young. Don't think that Amherst is too white or too far. I'm really, really happy to be here, not just as my Holyoke student or as a Black student, but as a human being, to have a conversation, not with you guys, but with those who have been murdered. And this is my way of responding. This action is my response, and I say, I hear your cries. I hear your blood crying out to me from the ground. I'm listening. And it's important to listen. Thank you.
Now, don't think that when we see our black men shot to death by white police officers that this is a new phenomenon. Actually, it is not a new phenomenon. Here we see Malcolm X addressing police brutality in the killing of a young Muslim man in 1962.
In order for you and me to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough. And it is because of our effort toward getting straight to the root that people oftentimes think we're dealing in hate. We are oppressed. We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate, you should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you? And I, for one, as a Muslim, believe that the white man is intelligent enough. If he were made to realize how black people really feel and how fed up we are without that old compromise and sweet talk. Stop sweet talking him. Tell him how you feel. Tell him what kind of hell you've been catching, and let him know that if he's not ready to clean his house up, if he's not ready to clean his house up, he shouldn't have a house. It should catch on fire and burn down.
Moving on, there are 4 other murders that made headline. Of course, there were many, many more in between. But I want us to take a look at these 4 murders, which includes Rodney King in 1991, Amadou Diallo in 1999, Sean Bell in 2006, and Oscar Grant in 2009.
Around the United States, there is outrage over the police shooting of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. Maybe because it isn't the first time an unarmed black man has been gunned down by cops for what appears to be little reason. Protesters have called for justice to be served. But will it be? Looking back might give us a clue. So here are 4 infamous police brutality cases in the United States and what happened to the cops involved. Rodney King. His case put U.S. police brutality on the radar for an entire nation. In 1991, he was beaten by 4 white LAPD officers after a high-speed chase. If it hadn't been taped, King probably would have been just another black man brutalized by the cops. But it was. Still, that didn't stop a jury from acquitting the officers of all criminal charges, leading to the LA riots, some of the worst in U.S. history. The LAPD did, however, make some changes, adding more diversity to the then 59% white force, and the city got a new police chief. Smart. King sued Los Angeles and won, and in 1993, two of the four officers were convicted of violating King's civil rights in a federal case. They were sentenced to 30 months, which they served. 41. That's the number of bullets police fired at Amadou Diallo in front of his apartment building. He was 22 and unarmed. The plainclothes officers, who all happened to be white, thought he had a gun. It was actually his wallet. A year later, they were all found not guilty of criminal charges, and not one of the officers had to resign. So what happened?
The jury did not want to believe that what they did was criminal. They viewed it as a mistake.
There was a bit more justice, though, in New York City policing. The street crime unit that the officers were a part of, whose creepy slogan was "We own the night," was disbanded. The city started recruiting more black and Latino officers, and for the first time, the police had to release data on its stops and arrests, specifically when it came to race. Fast forward 7 years. 23-year-old Sean Bell was celebrating his last night as a bachelor in Queens, New York. 5 plainclothes cops in unmarked cars fired 50 shots into Bell's car, killing him and wounding 2 friends. They thought the group had a gun. They thought wrong. 3 of them were charged and found not guilty of criminal charges, but in the years that followed, 1 was fired and the others were forced to resign from the force. Still, only 1 was denied a pension. So was justice actually served? New Year's Day 2009, Oscar Grant was shot in the back by an Oakland Transit police officer, even though he was already in handcuffs and lying face down on the ground. The officer said he could use his gun for a taser. The incident was filmed by onlookers with camera phones and spread quickly online. Grant died the next day, and Oakland erupted in protests and riots. The officer, Johannes Mesrali, was convicted of involuntary manslaughter and got the minimum sentence of 2 years in prison. But he was released 11 months later on parole. John Burris, attorney for Grant's family, explained why cases like his are hard to win.
The vast majority of people who serve on the juries are basically pro-police. And it's very difficult for them to rule against a police officer for conduct that happened in the course of their work.
Grant, along with Bell, Diallo, and King, are all symbols of the ongoing fight against police brutality for every generation. The common thread? Excessive force and little accountability. Will we ever come up with a way to cancel Cops Gone Wild? And when will communities be able to end their cry, no justice, no peace? Subscribe on YouTube.
And so, having looked at these snippets of police brutality, we hear a lot of slogans today. Slogans such as Black Lives Matter, I Can't Breathe, Blue Lives Matter, Hands Up, Don't Shoot. Ashamed to live in a land where justice is a game. And so when we look at all this in totality, we're again forced to ask the question, police brutality, is there an end in sight?